Hi, guys. I'm here with Jennifer today. I want to introduce you to one of my good friends. She has a good story to tell, and we're going to just chit chat and talk a little bit about her. We're going to have some questions. We're going to talk about her life, her experiences, her job, which I think is a very important one that she does. So I'm going to introduce Jennifer Rocha, right? Am I saying that correct?
Yes,
Jennifer
you are.
Rocha. I call her Jenny. So just for you guys to know, so it's my friend Jenny. Jennifer, I want you to introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about you. Tell me about your babies. I know you have two.
Yep.
Tell me about hubby, all of that. I want them to know who is Jennifer.
Okay, that's a lot of questions. So let's see. I think it's a big question, right? When someone asks you like who you are, and I would say I'm not a label and I'm not a role. I think that I am a sum of my trials, my victories, the people in my life, the ones that are here today and the ones that are not. And I would say I'm someone who I believe in discipline over motivation. I think it's, much stronger. I think I'm someone who defied a lot of odds to get to where I am today. I've been married for 15 years. I'm 37, so we were babies when we met. It actually reminds me I'm someone who I love to prove people wrong.
Okay.
So when I met my husband, at the time we were so young and everybody's like, are you sure? Like, that's not gonna work out. And I'm like, well, it's been almost 20 years together now.
Challenge accepted.
Exactly, it's like full baby here.
Let me take my earrings off. I'm gonna show you how it's done.
Exactly. So I think that's like a quick summary of the best I can explain of who I am. And I have two boys, Hunter and Logan. Hunter is gonna be 6 next month.
That's crazy.
I was telling you earlier today, right? It's nothing like having kids to make time fly and to remind you how old you're getting.
Tell me about it.
Logan just turned 3 and I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for the last almost 8 years. I've been in oncology since then, primarily blood and marrow transplant, but I just recently started a new job and now I'm in radiation oncology. So I went from liquid cancers to tumors. So it's been a very interesting transition, but yeah.
Explain to me, you said tell me again, what is the
Radiation oncology.
Okay, but before you did?
Blood and marrow transplant.
Okay, blood and marrow transplant. Okay, so on your career, what made you decide to go in that field?
As you know, but you guys don't know, so I'll start from the beginning.
There we go.
When I was almost 12. My sister was about 9 and she was diagnosed with leukemia at the time. Leukemia is a type of blood cancer and the only known cure for it is transplants. So unfortunately, she passed away about 4 years after being diagnosed. I was almost 15 at the time. She had just turned 13. It was a difficult time. And I always knew that I wanted to do something in the medical field since I was young. I thought, oh, maybe a doctor or something. And when she passed, I think I was very angry. So I was like, what's the point of getting into medicine, eventually they'll just die. So I think I ran away from it for a long time. I actually graduated when I was 29. So you can see that it was a journey to get there. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a dentist. Oh no, I'm gonna go into business. And I did this and that. And then eventually I think I just came face to face with what I was meant to do professionally. And I decided to go into nursing. But it was also very hard to get into nursing. At the time, the major was very impacted. So it was really hard to get in. I actually was denied admission into nursing school 3 times before I got in.
I didn't know that.
Yep, and then I got in, and I will say I think part of it was such an impacted major. So people had really high GPAs, which I did not have. High school was a difficult time for me. Community college also, that process of trying to decide what I wanted to do. So I didn't have the best GPA. So I felt like I was competing against some people that had really good grades and we're not first generation students. I'm also an immigrant. Although I was born here, I consider myself an immigrant. My parents are immigrated to the United States. They didn't go to college. So, there were a lot of mountains I had to go through to be able to get there. So when I got my admission, I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I was married already at the time. And I told my husband, if I don't get in this time, I'm going to do something else. It's like God telling me that I'm not meant to do this.
Career for me.
Not going to happen. But then I got in. And I did so well. I was magna cum laude, I was
Wow.
class representative. And in my last rotation, which was pediatric rotation, it was, I think, the rotation that healed me. I ended up at Kaiser, San Francisco, for my pediatric rotation in nursing school. And that was actually the hospital where my sister was treated.
Can I ask her that?
And when she, where she passed, I actually went there before I started because I was like, I have to see how, am I gonna be able to walk in?
Yeah.
And I got in there and I saw this nurse and I was like, hi, I'm here. I'm supposed to start next week training. But years ago, I was here with my sister and I was there. Like at the time, immigration stuff, my mom was unable to come at first. And so I came with my sister. My dad was already here. So I was her primary caregiver. So I knew the nurses.
14 at the time?
Yeah, 14.
Okay.
14.
That's a lot for a 14-year-old.
Yeah,
That's a lot, a big role to take.
it was. I think at the time, I spoke with my mom in Brazil when it happened because they wouldn't allow her to come into the country. I was born here, so I could. My sister got a medical visa. So I was like, I think I should go. I think, my dad is there, but he's working, so it's not like he can do much. And she needs someone. So my mom said, if it's something you want to do, then sure, you go. And then she stayed behind with my sister. And it was a 8-9 month process of trying to get a visa to come here. She finally did, thank God. She made it, but it was, I think, less than 2 months later, my sister passed.
So when I met you, that was the time that I met you, right?
Yeah.
Because I knew your mom and dad prior to know you guys, I believe. I think I met your mom and dad before. At least your dad. I knew your dad, from church and all of that. So we knew each other. And then when you guys came, mom didn't come. So dad was working and all of that. Then you guys came to me.
Yeah, you became my mom for a while.
Yeah.
You became my mom. Your mom became my grandma. Your dad became my grandpa.
That's when we met. And that was not the best situation to meet someone.
Nope.
But at the same time, I think, and I am a firm believer that God puts people in your life for a reason.
Yep.
And I believe that God put you in my life for some, particular reason, because you went through with me when my mom got diagnosed. So we have a history.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that with everything that happened, with everything situation that happened between all of us, I still firm believer that God put your whole family in my life for a reason. And sometimes I don't know what it is for, but I believe that God put you, specifically you, in my life because of that. Because I was going to go through something that you already been through.
Oh gosh.
And for me to to be able, even though we're we're super, super close, but I'm always following you and seeing how accomplished you were, how amazing you became, and all the accomplishments that you did, and the fact that you went into that field. It was like, this girl, she's gonna do something big. I know for a fact. So I'm a firm believer that God put you in my life for that reason, because when I needed it, even though sometimes I couldn't talk to you, I went back and looked at your life and was like, okay, if she did it, something happens, I can do it. So I believe that God put you in my life. But I want to talk to you more about that period, that time when, I think for a 14-year-old, it's such a huge challenge, such a huge, and I don't know if you remember or if you have that because sometimes we try to block stuff, we try to not remember stuff. But I want you to tell me a little bit more about your relationship with her, about your relationship where you have another sister, Natasha. She's the younger one. So how you basically being the older one, having to help your dad, and I was in the backgrounds, but you were the front person to deal with them. Tell me more about that. I wanted to know more about that.
Let's start with a funny story.
Okay, let's go.
So we moved here, and when I moved back to Brazil, I was 6.
Okay.
And we didn't speak English at all back there, so I just forgot how to speak the language.
Okay.
So I get here, 100% Portuguese speaking, no English, and we get here, my sister already goes to the hospital to start treatment. And they put a little hat in the toilet because you need to pee in the hat to make sure that we know your hydration status, your weight, and what. So she comes to me and she's like, Jennifer, I need to go poop. And I was like, okay. And she was like, but do I have to poop in the hat too? And I'm like, I have no idea, but we're gonna find out. And again, no English. So I called a nurse in and I was like,
Neither of you, nor
mm-mm.
okay.
And she was like, you figure it out. you know, because usually that's how I was the oldest, and you figure it out. So I called the nurse, and the nurse looks at me, and I'm like, so, and I can remember, I was like, bathroom, not this. And the nurse just looked at me and she was like, oh yeah, like, just go. Like, I guess she didn't need to poop in the hat. But, so that was our relationship. She got in trouble. I was the one who had to go and fix it. We went through rough periods with her treatment. Her hair would fall and young kids would, come and make fun of her. I was probably, 12. I took a kid by his ear one time to his mom's house.
Okay, all right then.
And I was like, he's calling my sister Baldy, like, you have to take care of this. Good thing this is Brazil.
Right.
And it's like people are a little more and I think his mom
You won't get
understood
in
the
trouble that much,
frustration. Yeah, but that's who I was. And that's, I think, who I've always been. I'm the problem solver. I'm the person that, we were in an accident a few years ago in Tahoe, and the car actually turned over and everybody's getting out of the car. And then my sister, my youngest sister, Natasha, she's about to freak out. And I just looked at him like, you keep it together, you freak out later. And then I'm like going into the car and I'm opening the doors and I'm like trying to get people out, but there's no one in the car anymore. But that's like, I'm that person. I'm the person that when there's trouble, I'm hyper focused. I'm gonna get us out of this trouble. And then I'm climbing up the hill with my husband, and that's when I break down. So, and I think it's to show too that I think a lot of people look at me and they're just like, this lady is just like an armor. And sometimes even as a joke, like, a heart of gold. But as you know, in Brazil, heart of gold doesn't mean, it's not the same meaning. It just means like no feelings. And I think I have a lot. I think it's just because I do have a lot of control over how I feel, but sometimes it's like a pressure cook and you just...
Tell me about the pressure cooker. What is your outlet? What is like, when is the Jennifer says done? I'm done.
Out.
Yeah, like I'm done with it. I want to break.
So I think as I've grown, I've learned. I think before, as a young person, you probably remember this. I used to just say things, and I had no filter.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. My best friend Lou. She used to tell me, Jen, I understand, that you're saying this, but you just need to say it a little kinder. And I'm like, but that's what I meant. And she's like, I know, but there's different ways of saying it. So, and then I met Junior too, who he's just much more better with his words. So I think I learned we kind of changed teams a little bit to where he says more and I say less.
You kind of balances out each other.
We do balance each other out, which is great. But I would say these days I have my outlets are I like working out. I work out at home. I like getting a sweat in. I like the science behind it, releasing those endorphins. I like that it makes me feel good, it makes me look good, and it's a good release. But I do think sometimes that I just need to talk. In the last, I would say, year or so, I've got new friends and old friends who have come back into my life, and we do coffee dates. And it's just I've learned to be more vulnerable and to let people know that I need their help too. I will help you. If there's an issue, you call me in the middle of the night, I'm bringing the shovel, no questions asked, it's gonna be okay. But, I think I have tried to learn how to rely more on people too, because I'm a fixer, and I think that's just how I was. Nobody taught me this.
I think the fact that the way I see it, I don't know if that's true. You correct me if I'm wrong. If I am wrong, words. I think the fact that you're put in a situation that you had to grow up fast.
I did.
Right?
I did.
So I think that kind of puts you in this position now that I had to do it then, I have to do it now.
Yep.
And if I haven't done then, something could have gone in a different way. So I cannot let this happen again.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I think it's two things. I think it's that, which is, I would say, the part of you think biology and nurture, biology is just how we're born and what we are. Because since I was young, I hated going to birthday parties with my sisters, because I always had this thing where in Brazil, you know, you don't touch the sweets table until you sing happy birthday. But then we would sing happy birthdays and then everyone just like, you know, rushes in there. And I would try to find my sisters, like, you guys have to go and you have to eat. And I would be concerned. I wanted to make sure that they had their sweets, they had their cake. So I felt like I didn't enjoy it because I was trying to make sure that they were enjoying it and they were getting all the things. So I already had, I think, some, you know, part of my biology to just be a caregiver, to worry. And then I think coming here with my sister and being, you know, a caregiver to her and eventually losing her. And, you know, my parents had their own struggles too. Like, I have kids now, and just the thought, I can't even go there. Like, you know, so I think I was rougher on my mom before having kids. And then I have kids and I'm like, Mom, the fact that you function, like, you are amazing.
Why do you think you're rougher on her? What brought that up on you? Like,
I think before it was also a part of just being a child. And, you know, I was 15, so I was a teenager, but in a sense, you're still a child and you just expect your parents to take care of you. So you expect your parents to figure it out. Like, I know you lost a daughter, I'm grieving too, but you gotta figure it out and take care of me. And they just couldn't at the time. And I think I ended up having to like take care of them and take care of my younger sister too. And I think that's also what has led me to, you know, through these years of just like, I take care and I'm not taken care of. Luckily, I found an amazing guy, you know, back when I was 22 years old. Was I 22? No, I was younger. I was 20. I was 20 when I met him. I was 19 and he was 20. There you go. I was 22 when I married him. But even in the beginning, it was interesting. We would go out on dates and I would just walk right in the restaurant and I would ask for the table. And he's like, wait, I can ask for the table. I'm like, oh, you can?
I'm not used to that.
Right?
I'm not used to be here.
No. It was like, it didn't feel very natural because I had already become that person who's not taken care of. Yeah, it's interesting how the things you go through, how they can actually hurt you in a sense because you put yourself in these situations where you don't allow people to get in. And I think I've been misunderstood a lot with people that have actually left my life. I don't think they ever saw me as someone who also needed help. And because they didn't see that, they just judged me for someone who like maybe just took something from them, if that makes sense. I don't want to get into that because that's like a whole thing.
No, but totally. I was gonna say elaborate on that, but we're not.
Yeah, it's because you know I want to be also respectful of other people and their battles.
Exactly, and I think, you know, the one thing that I talk to my husband about a lot. He has a thing that if I can do it, I hate the saying. If I can do it, you can do it. It's not true.
No,
because my situation and my feelings and my experience are different than yours.
Yeah.
So I think some people that might have left her life or might be the fact that I want to protect myself. I don't want to go through that because I need to protect myself. I don't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like that, you know, not everybody has the same experience. Not everybody has the same outcome and not everybody can go through whatever you went through and come out like you did.
Yes.
So I think it's like, you know, it kind of brings you a wall, you know, puts you behind a wall because you're like, you know, I don't want to handle that. I don't want to deal with that. But again, you know, like I say, how is your relationship nowadays with your mom?
I think it's become so much better.
Yeah.
I think we can be I'm able to be more honest with her and to just show that I need her too. And it's not like, it's weird because it's like, I will always say this. You know, she helps me a ton with my kids. I don't know how people have kids without their parents around.
Without a mom.
Oh my God. I joke with my mother-in-law too. Like, I'm like, you need to come back. Like, this is, she lives in Brazil.
Okay.
Like, this is not working. She's like, it's all on my mom. Like, you need to come back.
We need another pair of hands.
Yeah. But, you know, to know, like, especially in the first years of my boy's life, not having to take them to daycare and having her, someone I trust completely, to watch over them. My mother-in-law was also able to come to help us with Logan, our youngest one, for a few months. To know that person that you trust is watching your kid and will love them just as you do, if not more,
Probably
more. Probably more.
More, because my dad,
more.
I talk to my dad sometimes and say, if I talk to you, like.
Does your dad even say hi to you? Because when I get to my mom's house and the kids, she'll say hi to kids. She walks right past me.
Yeah.
It's like,
my dad, Nikki, you know,
hey.
my daughter talks to my dad like Fuffle, whatever. And I was like, if I had talked to you like that, I'll have probably no teeth anymore.
Oh yeah.
Like, you'd be like, you know?
It's always
And
like,
he'd
you
be
have to have
"Oh, she's so
patience. I'm like, what patience are you talking about? You did not teach me this patience.
It wasn't like this with me. But yeah, he goes,
Yeah.
but she's so cute. She's my granddaughter. I was like, I'm your daughter. I gave her to you.
Oh no, it's not the same.
No, it's not the same. Yeah, he told me
Yeah,
the same.
she'll tell me, oh, one day you'll be a grandma and you'll understand. I'm like, well, you used to tell me all the time that one day I'll be a mom and I'll understand. I'm a mom now. Apparently now I'm gonna have to be a grandma and then what, a great grandma? Like, where are we headed here? So yeah, I think I have, as I get older, I have more and more grace for people in general, because I've always been in this mentality, is what you were saying earlier. If I can do it, you can do it. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. But people have different coping mechanisms. People have different backgrounds. If I think my upbringing was hard, my mom's upbringing was much harder. So, if she has like the person she's become today, everything she's been able to accomplish today, like it was not easy for her from her upbringing. And I think, same with my dad, everybody has their battles, their struggles. I do think that we have to be accountable for how we treat people, for how we raise people. It doesn't mean that, like, I don't think your struggles is an excuse to be mean to someone, to do harm. You have to like get those things in check.
Speaking of your career now, let's pivot a little bit.
Okay.
I think the emotional part's already good. And we didn't even cry, so it's all good.
Oh God, you're gonna talk about my career and you're
Now
gonna say
we're
it's not emotional?
Now we're gonna cry. No, but talk to me about it, because when we met, like, our like relationship and friendship like a while ago, a little bit ago, and at that day that we went had lunch and stuff, we talked about a little bit of the way you deal with your patients, and I think that's the most important thing for me to understand. It's how your heart and the experience that you had bring compassion towards these people that you're dealing with. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I will say that this is a topic in my interviews for like the jobs I've had.
Okay.
And because I am not someone who just went to school and learned how to do nursing. Nursing, like for you to be a nurse, you're being a caregiver. And I learned that from experience. So when I think about this, I don't think I'm just from outside looking in. I know what it is to be inside looking out. So that's how I try to talk with every patient. Like, you have patients that they're angry, they're just frustrated, they're scared. That's the main thing. They are so scared. So I try to always remind myself of what it is to be like in that situation. And I think that has made me a better nurse, and it has made me stand out a little bit more from the crowd, because I can get there. I could get there. I don't do bedside anymore. I'm more in the administrative role.
Okay.
But for the
But I want to go back to the bedside too, so
Sure.
I want to know.
the difference.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
As I was saying, I did the pediatric rotation at Kaiser. I felt like that healed me. I got there, the nurse who met me, she was like, what was your sister's name? And I said, Jeza. And she's like, I remember her.
Oh, wow.
And I just started bawling.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh. There was
but
no way.
I was like, and I hugged her and I cried and I felt like a little part of me healed, but I left, and me and my sarcastic self, I'm like, I told Junior, Junior is my husband. There's no way she remembers.
Right.
Like it's been too many years. There's no way.
How many years, Jennifer?
From that, because she passed in 2002, so we're over 20 years now, or 2003. Yeah, 2003. We came into 2002, so it's been over 20 years. So it had been over 10 years.
Wow.
So I'm like, there's no way. So I come back the next week.
Let me pause that, because I want to go back to that. But I want to talk to you a little bit like we're saying about this. You recorded a video and you wrote a poem for your sister. Your sister, correct?
Yep.
Do you remember the words of that poem by heart?
Not by heart.
Okay.
Because it's kind of long, but I remember the story. Was it the My Little Flower?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because you recorded a video the other day, and of course I was watching like bawling, because you're talking about her. But I was like, that was the thing that also I want to make sure that later on I'm gonna try to get that from you, and we're gonna put it on also like part of this.
Oh, that's nice.
Because I think that's very cute, and the video that you record too was like to the heart. Continue.
So I go back a week later, and then I am chatting with another nurse. So this nurse wasn't there. And she's like, oh, nurse so-and-so just sent me a picture of a shirt that your sister drew, painted for her, and she has it to this day. And sure enough, I remember, because my sister used to draw this little kind of looking doll, but she's like, it's from behind. It's like, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh my God, it really was her. And she really did remember. And I'm just like, at that moment, I'm just thinking, how did I end up here? Like all the things that had to happen for me to end up here in this moment. Like maybe if I had been accepted 2 years prior, that's not where I would have done my rotation. And just like how everything, I feel like my life, every moment of my life, good and bad, God was in it. Like, not to spiritualize things here, but that's even like the bad. God has always been there.
100%.
Because things will happen if it, like, I don't understand at the time, but then things happen later. I'm like, it just kind of like knocks the wind out of me. Cause like, wow. So that moment was like, I knew that I was going to do something that I was called to do. And it's not to say that this is what I'm called to do for the rest of my life, but I know that in this moment, at that moment for the past few years, this is what I was meant to do professionally. So I graduate. Fast forward a little bit, I graduate college and I apply for Stanford's new grad program, hard program to get into. So, and I'm having my PTSD from all the denials and I'm like, I'm never gonna get a job. I'm applying like left and right to all these like places. I'm like, oh my God. I was actually one of the first to be hired from my cohort and I was accepted into the Stanford new grad program. So I selected oncology as my first. Almost didn't get the interview because there was a problem with getting my test, my license, like a whole thing. And they were like, well, once you have your test date, then let me know and we will schedule you for an interview. I call back, I'm like, I got the date. They're like, oh, we already have 4 people interviewing, but I'm gonna ask. So then they made an exception. They allowed me to be the 5th person to be interviewed that day. I got the job and then I go to visit the unit. They're like, okay, this is a blood and marrow transplant unit. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, how in the world do I end up in a unit that treats with patients who have the same disease that my sister had? And unfortunately, she never got to get her transplant. We weren't a match. I believe we were half match to her, which we actually do transplant nowadays. We've advanced so much. We do.
The whole family, nobody was a match to her? Like,
no, so it's usually you test siblings. That's like you have about a 25% chance of being a full match.
Okay.
You have about a 0.5% chance of being half match. Like today, pretty much everyone, if you have at least one living parent, everyone has a donor because your parent will be half matched to you.
Oh.
So medicine has really advanced. It's not just transplant, we also do CAR T therapy, which is a cellular therapy. We'll take cells from the person who's sick. We take them to the lab, we re-engineer the cells to be able to identify the tumor, the cells, and attack it. So we've come a long way, and it felt, sometimes I'm like, damn it, why didn't we have that at that time? But at the same time, like, thank God we do have it now because, we have so many people who are going through this, kids, adults, older adults, and to be able to offer them hope I felt like that's what my job was. At the end, we were sending him off to hospice and I hugged him and he said, you changed my life.
Oh, wow.
And I said, no, you changed my life. And so it's just these little moments, they heal me little by little because I think you don't completely heal from a loss. You know this.
Yeah.
And then to go on to become a nurse coordinator, plan transplants, sometimes plan these transplants in like record time because I know what it is to, have the fear of not being able to do things in time. And it's just, I love what I do.
I wish that, I think you were actually, but I didn't have the opportunity to work with you when my mom was diagnosed. And I wish we had you as a person that was holding her hand and holding my hand. You were holding my heart and my hand at the same time, but I wish that we had, more of this when we had her situation happen. But if you have to tell me an outtake, I think it's outtake that I want to say, from everything, from the moment that you step foot in this country with your sister to where you are right now, everything, if you have to do like a lifeline, like a timeline on that, from there to here, what can you tell me? How all of that defy you like right now?
It's a big question. I think that one thing that we need to, these were actually words that came out of my sister's mouth. So you imagine this 10-year-old, she is in a hospital and she's throwing up and she's throwing up blood. And her mom is reasonably so freaking out. And this child holds her mom's arm and she says, God is not desperation. Those are the words I lean on to and I remember. And also when, I don't know if you were this day at church, and the pastor asked her, he was like, how do you feel with doctors telling you all these bad news? And she said, I don't listen to the words that the doctors tell me. I listen to God. I think sometimes that's where we just have to lean into God. And some people don't believe in God, but you believe in something and you lean into that. I truly believe that God is in us. I teach my boys, he's in your heart, but he's also next to you. He's everywhere. So lean on to that belief and just know that at the end of the day, believe it or not, it's gonna be okay. And you're not your trauma. You have a trauma, but you're not your trauma. You have pain, but you're not your pain. So don't let those negative feelings define who you are. They're part of you, but they're not who you are. They don't define you. So that's like where I go back, like these things, they don't define me. They have a part in who I've become, but I'm my own person. And I think if I was able to go through everything I did in my life and become what I consider, I'm proud of who I've become. I'm successful in my career. I have a good marriage. I'm a good mom. I have a lot of mom guilt though. Like nowadays, like what has happened to me? Like this rational person has become.
Don't worry about it.
So emotional.
And it's not gonna go away. So you're gonna have that forever.
Good to know.
So.
Yeah, it might be getting a little worse.
Yeah,
but
it's gonna have forever.
Need a little more therapy or something.
We all do. Trust me. We all can benefit from that. Trust me.
But yeah, I'm proud of myself, and I think what I've learned in the past couple of years is just I want to be unapologetically me. And it's something that I see you and I admire that in you, and that's what I want to be. Again, I've lost along the way some people because for a while I did put myself in a box and I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I'm walking on eggshells. Now I joke, I don't walk on eggshells. I'm gonna get that egg and I'm gonna
throw it at you.
Yeah. But this is the thing, Cheery. I've become really close to one person, and she's always reminding me of who I am. And it's funny because it's like, I should know better who I am. But she reminds me and she's like, that's what I love about you. And I'm like, that's usually what people don't like about me. She's like, no, that's what I love about you. And she's like, the type of person you are, it's like, because you know who you are, people are either gonna love you or they're gonna hate you. There's usually not a middle ground. And I'm okay with that because now the people that have come closer to me, that are like closer inside my circle, they are people who I can be who I am, and they love me. And it's like, I can be my funny, sarcastic self, with my dark humor, and I don't feel judged. I feel celebrated. And I think that's what we have to really think about the people that we surround ourselves with, because it makes you or breaks you. Yeah. And I think I was just broken for a long time and suffocated because I was just so worried about making other people happy, and I was miserable. And now I'm like, well, this is who I am, and I'm pretty amazing, if I say so myself.
Yeah, I attest to that.
And
that's why you're here.
You know what? And some people, you're so prideful and like whatever. But I think if we don't know how to recognize our own victories, our own accomplishments, no one will. If you don't know how to value yourself, if you don't know your self-worth, no one will, and you will settle for anything. And that's just not who I am.
It's not.
So I've been reminded in the last few years of like,
I'm glad.
Hey, wait, you're actually pretty amazing. Let's have a talk.
Yes, I agree 100% that statement, and that's why I said that's why you're here, because you are amazing. Like I said, I could follow you, and I love I don't apologize for anything that you do, because I love your videos, I love your Instagram, I love how you post it, I love how you talk to people, and that's one thing that I think that's, and Lee said you admire me, and I actually go right back at you, girl. You're an amazing person. You've been doing so great, and I love the fact that, I was a little, tiny little bit part of your life in that time that we had together.
I'm going to interrupt you because it was little, but it meant, because I think,
oh God, stop.
It meant the world. Like sometimes we go through a year and that's just a year, but it's not about the timing. It's about the intensity of it. And it was very intense because you were there for me in moments where you filled a gap, like a hole of not having your mother around, that no one Like, people usually don't even want to touch, don't want to go there. But you were there. You took us to McDonald's every week. That was fun. That was our little stop before rehearsal. And you were there. My dad called me to, to say that my sister had passed away.
That was a tough time.
You bought me my pink All-Stars that I really wanted pink All-Stars to wear.
Remember that?
It was my first day back for second semester of freshman year. It was the
Wow.
first day. So you bought those shoes for me to go back to school. Unfortunately, I didn't wear it to go back to school. I wore it to go to Kaiser. But you were there for me, like when I needed it the most. You were there for me. You were there for my family. When I was about to turn 15 and we weren't going to do anything, you were like, nope, we're going to do something. You threw my party. You bought me my dress. And I just know that, you're someone that maybe we won't talk for 5 years, but I know it's someone I can go to. I remember you guys at my wedding. I remember your mom there with her bald head, and she had this purple flowery dress on, and she was there. She was there for me on my big day, even without one single hair on her head. She was there for me. You guys were there for me. Chita, Chito, like you guys, your family, So thank you for that. Thank you for stepping into a role that not a lot of people would do. That it takes a lot for someone to do that and to do it so well. Not just to try, but to do it well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's, and if God forbid will happen again, I'll do everything the same way I did and would know that.
I know. I have no doubt you would.
No doubt. There was no doubt. You know me, I'm here for you, and I'm here for everybody that needs me.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming and talking to me. That was amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was very good. We kind of like held it together.
I know. I'm so proud of us.
So proud of us.
Oh my gosh, how did we do that?
Your hands are cold as heck.
I know. I'm like, my mom used to say, oh my God, mão de defunto, like that's that person's hands, because there's always cold. It's always sweaty, but it's cold.
But the heart is always warm.
The heart is always warm. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming and talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
And I love you very much.
I love you
You're
too.
part of me.
Same. Thank you.